Hi everyone, my name is Dave, and welcome to Extra Credit, a video series where we take an unscripted look at topics related to local history and exploring that history. Okay, so before we get started, as we normally do, just a quick reminder to visit my website. You'll find a link in the description. There you're going to find all kinds of content related to the topics we take a look at in this video series and more. In particular, take a look at the extra credit section. There you're going to find a list of all of the episodes that we've ever done. So for example, if you're new here and you haven't seen any of the past episodes, if you've missed one, or if you just want to go back and take a look at one, you're going to, again, find all of the links to those episodes so you can visit them on YouTube. Additionally, please make sure you follow me on social media. So you're going to find me on Facebook. You're going to find me on Twitter or X. You're going to find me on Instagram. And then finally, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. There's a lot of content that drops regularly, particularly in the spring and the fall when we're out actively hiking and doing explorations. If you're waiting for the content to come out on social media, sometimes there's a delay, sometimes there's a lag between when it goes up on YouTube and then when I actually post it on social media. So by subscribing, turning on the notifications, you're going to get that content as soon as it comes out. So as you can see by the title, this is another part 2 episode. So a couple of years ago, we did an episode on videography. And so in that episode, basically we went through a little bit of why I do the videography. Particularly, we talked a little bit about some of the equipment that I'm using, video cameras, things like that, drones. Some of that equipment has changed. I'm certainly upgrading from time to time, and certainly that's changing. But one of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about was basically the process of actually making. Luna's coming for a visit here. It's always like in the middle of the episode, she wants to come here and snuggle here. We wanted to talk a little bit about the actual process of making the videos, because that's a big part of it, right? I mean, it's one thing to actually go out and film the episodes, you're using the hardware to record everything, but then you actually need to turn it into an actual video. Obviously there's content that just gets thrown up on places like YouTube and social media and things like that with minimal amounts of editing. But certainly when you're talking about some of the things that I'm doing, there is quite a bit of editing that goes into it. And there's a lot of preparation work that goes into it as well. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at in this episode. Now, just to give you a little sort of background with regard to me doing the videos. So in a previous episode, when we did photography, I talked a little bit about, how long I've been sort of involved with photography. I've been kind of, I'm obviously not a professional, and I've been doing sort of amateur photography work since, I don't know, the early 1990s. So when it comes to video, I had been making, and I think I talked about it in that first video episode, I talked a little bit about, when I started making videos of, some of my hikes and some of my explorations and things like that. So I did go back and look. So I joined YouTube back in 2006. I don't think I posted anything right away. It wasn't until maybe a few years later that I started posting some stuff. I don't remember when I first posted some of my first videos, but I know for sure that in terms of the railway stuff, I think I posted some stuff around 2010. I had done a trip to Minnesota after they had opened the Centennial Trail, that basically covered the Minnesota parts of the Port Arthur, Duluth, and Western. And I know I had uploaded some stuff after that. And I know that I had done some work with football, and that ties in with a little bit of my Angry Irish moniker. And I think we covered that in an episode of a Q&A episode. I talked a little bit where the Angry Irish thing comes from. So anyway, I've been sort of doing this for a little while, and just sort of going back and sort of thinking about sort of the little bit of the beginning. Certainly things have changed a lot I'm trying to think back. So like if we go off that 2010, and again, I was making videos a little bit before that. So let's say I've been doing this for 15 or 16 years that I'm making these videos, that I've been doing the editing. And I'm sort of thinking back to, some of the, the software that I was using. I remember when I first started out, I was using a PC computer because that's basically what I had. And I don't even remember what I was using to do the editing at first. And then eventually I morphed into using a Mac, and I eventually ended up using Final Cut Pro, which is one of the, I guess, one of the premier video editing programs that are out there. There's a few of them that are higher end ones that are being used, but certainly the Final Cut one is very prominent. That's being used on the Apple computers. All of my video editing skills are basically self-taught. I've never taken a class. Maybe that shows a little bit. But other than, I know in more recent years, other than sort of Googling, some stuff that, how do I do this, right? Where you're kind of perplexed. I'm like, I don't quite understand how to, do this one part of the editing, or, there's something that maybe I've forgotten how to do. I haven't done in a while. And so other than, Googling stuff, I've been self-taught. So certainly when you watch this episode and you watch some of the things that I'm doing, please be kind. Again, I'm not a professional. I'm basically using this as a tool to, promote history. And again, that sort of ties in with the whole idea here that, as with a lot of things in society, the way that we study history has changed as well too. In the past, history would have been learned by, reading a book, or reading some sort of material. And, certainly, and that has changed in more recent history. We're seeing a lot more stuff that's making on itself onto television. Now we're seeing, videos out on YouTube, podcasts, things like that. And certainly this is another tool to sort of educate people. Luna's bringing me toys here to play with. Educate people about what has happened in the past. So again, I am currently using a MacBook Pro. I am using the latest version of Final Cut. Maybe what I'll do right now is I'll put up the specs for my computer. So I just got a brand new computer last spring, and I'll put up those specs on the screen for you. So now, if I did have one regret, I wish, and it was not, if you know how expensive computers are, particularly high-end ones that are using for things like video editing. I wish I would have got a little bit more memory on the computer, basically because things are going to run a little bit faster, and especially when you're using, 4K 60 files, which are huge. It would have made the process even faster than it is. But unfortunately, when you're shelling out the amount of money that I did for that computer, it gets a little bit pricey. So anyway, I don't want to talk too much because there's a lot of video here with regard to the editing process. So basically what you're going to see is you're going to see how I, first of all, get the videos off of the devices, then basically what I do with the files, and then you're going to see how I organize the videos, how I figure out how everything is going to kind of go into an order, and how how long the videos are going to be, and the organizations of the clips, and then you're actually going to see me sort of put everything together. So again, please be kind. Remember, I'm not a professional. I'm an amateur, self-taught. And so there's probably going to be some stuff in there that I'm probably not doing right, or there's probably a quicker way to do it. But in any case, let's have a look at it. Okay, so we have to get the video footage off of the SD cards. We actually have 3 separate SD cards because we have one GoPro, we've got a few clips on a second GoPro, and then we have the video from the drone. So this is the program that I like to use. So I extract the video from my PC computer. Like I said, I liked this program. It was one that came with an older camera that I had, a Sony camera. So I like kind of how it indexes the videos. Okay, so we're ready to import our files. All right, so what we're doing right now is we are copying the folder with all of the files in them. So off the 2 GoPros and off the drone, we're copying them into a folder on a hard drive that contains the videos from the last exploration in the area. So back in May of 2021. So that way we have all of the files in one location and they're easily accessible. Okay, so now we've got the folder copied to this hard drive and you can see both files in the folder. Okay, so the 2021 videos and then the 2023 videos. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this over to our piece, to our Mac now, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. And then these files that are on here, they're still on the hard drive on this computer. I'm going to transfer them to a portable hard drive with all of my raw video files on them. All right, so we have the video files booted up on my Mac, and this is basically what I do next. So you'll notice I have a sheet of paper. Maybe this is a little old school, but I find it, for me, it's the best way to kind of organize things. So what I've done is I've printed out the section of the GPS software. You can see all of the waypoints on here for this area. You can see the name down here. So basically this is around Warneford Station. You can see the mileage. Again, we're using the original Canadian Northern mileage. So you can see milepost 22.1 to 25.7. So on the back, what I have is, you'll notice I have a 1 for the first video. And then you'll notice the Roman numeral. And basically what that indicates is, so every year I start a new series of files. And basically I started with CNoR, which stands for Canadian Northern. I put the year, so I put 2023, and then I start with Roman numeral. So 1, 2, right? So now we're LV, so this is the 55th video that we've done this year. So what I'm going to do right now is, at the bottom of the page here, I'm going to draw a little line. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting the time for the video files, right? So what I'll do is, the first video file is, the number for it is 10394, and the time was 8 minutes, 12 seconds. And then we'll go to the next video. So that's 10935. And so this is the way that I do it, so I can basically organize the video files and figure out what order I'm going to sort of put them in. And then this is the next one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these all listed out here, and then we'll come back and I'll essentially show you what I've done. All right, so you can see here at the bottom of the paper, I have all of the video files. You'll notice what I tried to do beside them is I also tried to indicate something that is going on there. So hopefully that helps me give me an idea of where I sort of want to cut the videos. Usually I try to keep them in the 11, 12, 13 minute range. Sometimes I have to go longer. Sometimes they're shorter. That usually where I try to keep them in. So for example, what we're going to do is we're going to start with video number 1, and we're going to go the file. This one here is 8:12, 8 minutes, 12 seconds. And then we're going to add 10935, which is another 8 minutes and 38. So we're already up there for these files. And hopefully I can cut some out of there. And then there's a culvert here. So what we're going to do is we've used that one, we're going to cross it out. And then we've got a culvert in here. So we've got 11035, 34 seconds, and 11036. And that one is 1 minute and 2 seconds. Then what we do is we write G and M. So that is the size of the file, because I have a spreadsheet and I try to keep track of all of the sizes of the files. And then I also record the minutes of that as well. So then we're going to start with number 2, and that's going to be LVI. And that's going to be 01936, and that's going to be 5 minutes and 38 seconds. And then we've got the next culvert, which is 11033, 11034. One is 42 seconds, and one is 36 seconds. Okay, I'm going to stop here with the video because I have some figuring out to do. Because I've done this section of the grade before, there is a video that's number 5. I don't want to delete that video. It's got a lot of views. I don't want to delete that video. I want to leave it as it is. So I have to basically get everything up into here. So this video here, so basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clips into 4 videos, including culverts, because I can't delete video number 5. And then I can basically do more videos after, but I have to pack all of this stuff. All right. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 videos plus culverts into these first 4 videos. All right. So I think I have this all worked out. You can see the complexities of trying to figure out all of the... Luna's got a toy. You put treats inside. We just put dog food inside, and she rolls it around and gets the things out. I put her on the table because it was making noise, and she went and stole it off the table. Anyway, so you can see basically how I organize everything, trying to calculate out all of the times. Again, it's not particularly easy. I do apologize for the shadows here. It's later at night now. It's 7 o'clock. After trying to do all of this, after doing all this figuring. So some of them are a little bit longer, like I know the first 2 are a couple long. Number 4 is going to be long. So I ended up with 7 videos out of this, right? Just simply because there's so much stuff to talk about in this area. There's, spurs and flag stops, and then we have the video footage. And so, yeah, anyway, so this is what you see. And then we're going to do the recording as we actually do the video. All right, so we've arrived at the point where we're going to actually do the video. So what I have here is I've loaded up my software. So I'm using a MacBook, and I'm using Final Cut Pro. I know there's other editing programs that are out there. This is the one that I'm most familiar with. Please be kind to me. I'm self-taught. I've never had a lesson or a tutorial or anything how to operate this program. Basically, I've taught myself over the years. The odd time I've had to look up something on YouTube because I couldn't quite figure something out or stuff like that. But pretty much everything I've done, I've had to sort of learn myself. So essentially, I have a template here. So basically, I have an introduction, the titles are the same. I just modify this title segment for the geographic location, and then basically the mileage, and then the number of the video. Then I have a map, and so our map is, I believe I have the map set up. So basically it's going to be going to right at Warneford Station, which is where we're going to be. Okay, so we're going to pull up the files that we're going to use. We're going to be pulling them in from hard drive. So these are all the files that we recorded when we were doing the hike. Basically, you can see that there is another folder with the ones from the previous exploration, but the ones we need for this one here are all in this folder. I'm going to flash this up on the screen, but basically you're going to see, I'm going to show you that sheet of paper again where we have all the files organized. And so you're going to see which ones that we need to import. So basically I've sort of broken it down, and so we'll have a look at that. Okay, so we need $947, and then we need $948. Okay, so we've got those in there. Now, there is a spot where we need to chop the video here because there's a culvert, and we need to put a couple other files in there right here.
Yeah, that could have been the story here. So let's go take a look at that culvert.
Okay, so we're going to use a shortcut, Control B. We're going to blade the film, and then we're going to grab those two files, which are 515 and 516. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn off here because it's going to take some time. You can see that it's importing the media, so it has to import these files. So that takes a little bit of time. So we're going to stop the recording. We're going to let it do its thing, and then we're going to come back and actually manipulate the files. All right. So all of the video files have now been imported. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go about editing them. As I said, I already have the sort of the template done for the intro and the closing segments of the video. Basically, I just sort of, what I do is I duplicate them and alter them for whatever that I'm doing here. Here you can see some of the files. I need to delete some of these once I'm finished using them. But basically it's the same sort of template for each video. All right, so again, please bear with me. Again, I'm probably doing a lot of things incorrectly because I was never instructed formally. Basically, I'm sort of doing this on my own. So what I usually do, first of all, is I start with the beginning and the end. So here we're basically trimming up the front part of the video. For the beginning and the end, I use a fade to color transition. I'm sure it's not the most exciting one, but that's basically what I use. And to me, it's a good way of transitioning into the video itself.
Okay, so again.
All right, so there's not a ton of editing inside the video itself that I have to do. Some of the videos I will have to, you know, like if I want to shorten the time, I have to basically speed up portions of the video, right, where I'm just sort of riding and there's nothing really to take a look at. So it basically, I don't want to say kill some time, but basically makes the video a little bit shorter. I need to check. I'll check certain areas and see if there's
Right
something
here.
I can trim out. Okay, so let's go right to the end first. And let's put the end transition in. So we'll shorten that up. Make sure it looks okay.
Thanks for joining us on this adventure, and stay tuned for more episodes coming very soon. But in the meantime, take care, stay safe.
All right, so that's done. So let's jump into this part here where we have the culvert. So what I use for those is I use a cross dissolve transition.
So, yeah, that could have been the story here. So let's go take a look at that culvert. Okay, so we've made our way down below the level of the grade. We're standing in.
Okay, so that looks okay. I'm going to do the transition between the two videos here.
All right.
And then we're going to do this transition.
Let's continue on to Warneford here. Okay, so this is Warneford Station here. Did Luna see a partridge? So let's talk about the story here of Warneford Station. Get my cheater notes out here. So I told you the backstory of this. Warneford was original station, and it stayed here until 1950. In 1958, they removed the siding, and then a year later, the station was gone. So by 1959, this station is completely removed from the line. And so it was one of the earliest ones that was removed, I guess just because of its location, not a lot kind of going on here. And so they pulled it. Now, what's interesting is right here, do you see this rock outcropping here? So there is a document. I had shown you the map earlier. Sorry, I showed you a piece from the book, from this report. It was an Ontario Bureau of Mines report from 1917, and I'm guessing it was done in 1916. And so they basically went from Long Lac to, it says from Long Lac to Jellicoe and Orient Bay. And then there's basically a geological report, and they're talking about minerals and gold and things like that. There's actually a photograph of this, okay? So you can, if you click on the link in the description, and you're gonna see this photograph, it's taken pointing that way. And what you're gonna see is you're going to see the main track, you're gonna see the siding, and you're gonna see this rock outcropping right here. It's a really, really neat picture, because again, this was probably taken in 1916. It's one of the earliest photographs that we have of this line. So I'm going to go over here, and I want to try to take a picture.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to blade this again here. And what we're going to do is we are going to put in, how did we lose our desktop again here? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to drop in our timetables of this area. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to change the duration. Usually I use about 12 seconds. Now for these ones, I go back to the fade to color transition. Okay, so we put one in between each one of these. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we are going to need, and this is why I saved some of them, because then I could just grab stuff from, and I don't have to redo the whole title and everything. Okay, so this is the title for this one. So Canadian Northern Railway. Then we're going to go to this one here. And we're going to grab the title for this clip. And so this is Canadian National Railways. This is December 7th, 1958. So we're going to change that. And we're going to do this. And this one is October 25th, 1959. Okay, so now we got the title straight. So then what we need to do is we want to get a zoom in on that. So I'm going to use the Ken Burns effect. And so this is the intro part. I'm going to drag that up. And then we're going to use the end part here. We're going to zoom in on the part on Warneford. So what we want to get is we want to get the mileage, and we want to get the siding and everything in there. I'm going to make that fit again. So then we test it out. There's Warneford. Okay, and then we're going to do this one here. So we're going to go into crop, Ken Burns. And then we're going to take this part. And we need to zoom in so we can actually see what we're doing here. Okay, that looks okay. All right, and then we go to this one. We go crop once again, Ken Burns. And then pull that over there. Zoom in. Okay, that's good.
But I think they were trying to show you this rock outcropping.
Okay, so we have a spot here where I'm snapping pictures here, so we're gonna cut that out. I'm gonna blade that. And we're going to put a cross dissolve transition.
This rock outcropping. So I'm going to show you those timetables, and you'll see kind of what's happening with Warneford here.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So that happens sometimes. All right, so what we'll do is we'll do this. I'll just grab the whole thing here. I'll lift it out of the that work okay?
What's happening with Warneford here?
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we got to go back here. Oop.
That we have of this line.
Okay, so we're going to put a cross dissolve in there. These are all plugged in here. We're just going to yank this one out.
All right, let's finish this exploration off. Again, you can see the cut kind of continues here. The siding is right here.
Okay, how does the rest of this look here? Okay, so I think we're ready to render this. Seems like it's okay. All right, so let's get it rendered here. Export the file. We're going to make sure it's named properly as per our piece of paper here. So what I do, in the past, I used to save it. Dog's sneezing like crazy here. I used to save it to a hard drive. Obviously, it's a lot faster to save it. My old computer had a limited size internal hard drive. Holy cow, Luna. This one, this new computer has a much bigger one, so I save it to the computer itself, and then I upload it from there onto YouTube, and I find that it's a lot faster. And then eventually what I'll do is I'll take them all off the computer and put them onto a hard drive. All right, so there's the sharing process starting. This computer's pretty quick. It's got a lot of processing power, so usually the process goes pretty quick. And so what we'll do is we'll turn off and then we'll come back once the video's been rendered. All right, so the rendering is done. It took about 9 minutes to render this video, which is about a 12 gigabyte video. So again, the computer is pretty impressive. So let's pull up the file here and let's have a look.
Okay, so again, new grade, old grade. So if we take a little excursion.
Okay. Let's go to
my page on Warneford, you'll see that information. So what we have down here, this is a new one. This is a wooden box culvert. We're gonna go have a look at that. I'm gonna mark it. I haven't seen it yet, but now I know where the culvert is. So anyway, so I'm not really sure what the story is, but could have very well been named after Reginald Warneford. There were a few other spots on this line that were named after World War I people. So Jellicoe, after the British Admiral. Hogarth, named after a Canadian military officer from the Thunder Bay area. So yeah, that could have been the story here. So let's go take a look at that culvert. Okay, so we've made our way down below the level of the grade. We're standing in kind of this dry lip because Luna has stirred up all of the sediment. But actually this side looks like it's in pretty decent shape. Again, given its potential age, I don't know when the last time they did wooden box culverts, but I'm sure this is pretty old construction. Anyway, so let's of a picture, and it's just a small little picture. It doesn't show you a lot of detail, but I think they were trying to show you this rock outcropping. So before we leave, I'm going to show you those timetables, and you'll see kind of what's happening with Warneford here.
Okay, so our transitions here with the timetables. Okay, everything seems like it's okay. So what I'm going to have to do is I'll watch it back
because there is some new information
carefully
on this area as well. So please keep your eye out for that one. So in the meantime,
so I'll go through them carefully and make sure that they're all, you know, this one included, make sure all the videos there's no mistakes in there before I upload them to YouTube. Okay, so again, as I mentioned, there's a lot of going on there. I remember when I actually looked at how many clips that I had assembled within the process, and I realized, wow, there's a lot of video in there already. So hopefully you enjoyed sort of taking a look at that process and see kind of what's involved. And again, it's not a simplistic process. I mean, sometimes the editing part isn't necessarily the most time-consuming part or the most challenging part. It's actually, you know, sort of figuring out, you know, the episodes and organizing the clips and trying to make sure that the individual videos are not too long, and then trying to figure out, you know, where to cut them, right? Because even when I'm filming these things, I have to be sort of cognizant of the fact that I have to stop periodically and then make sure that, you know, there's some breaks in there so that when we, you know, go to, you know, edit the clips together, that, you know, there's not a mess. And then it means sometimes it doesn't not necessarily work out properly, and now you're trying to sort of fiddle out. And then, you know, if you watch the videos, you can see that I'm trying to, you know, speed them up a little bit. So there's period, you know, I zoom ahead, and, you know, I speed up the speed of the video, right? Because you're trying to cut down on the number of videos and the amount of time that's going into each individual segment within the episodes. One of the things I've noticed in doing this over time, and particular now that I'm sort of going back and redoing sections that I did in the past, they're getting longer and longer, right? There's more stuff that I'm talking about. There's more details that I'm pointing out, right? So for example, in the past, you know, an area where it may have been 4 episodes, where I may have, you know, the segment of the railway line, it may have been 4 episodes. Now it's gone to 6 episodes, right? Or maybe even more, right? Because, you know, there's more stuff that I know more of the history. There's more stuff that I'm talking about. There's more details that I'm pointing out. There's more, unfortunately, there's more talking that I'm doing as we're sort of going along. So, you know, certainly that is a big consideration. So, again, hopefully you've enjoyed sort of taking a look at the process that's involved in doing all of these videos. And again, how challenging, how time consuming it can be. You know, like I said, you know, if you've got a longer hike and you've got a pile of video that you're sorting through, and you're doing 6, 7, 8 episodes or segments within a group of episodes, you know, it's very time consuming to you know, to organize and edit all of those clips and then get them up on YouTube. And then, like I said, you know, once they're up there, then that's sort of the easy part to sort of get all that information across. Okay, so this kind of brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed, again, this whole entire process that I've taken a look at. I don't know if I'm going to do more videography episodes down the road. Maybe when some of the technology changes and things like that, we'll come back to that. But certainly we will be back with yet more episodes next month, or another episode next month, and more down the road. There's some that are actually kind of already filmed, or good chunks of them are already filmed, particularly if they're kind of one of our sort of outdoor episodes and things like that. So certainly stay tuned for those. But in the meantime, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for following along with the video series, and take care.